All right, all right. So I want to do a shout out to Lindy Davies. She's been on my Facebook for a long time, and thank you so much for your post on your wall about, well, it's from like Beyond the Pale Horse. And I've heard about that book through my conspiracy world, but I never really read it. But I knew there was some stuff about what the plans were for the future, and we're kind of seeing them come into fruition now. But she showed, and I didn't even see that 5G connection until I read actually the script in the post, but about hydroxychloroquine, which I've been focusing a lot because it's being touted and it's being demonized. So when something is touted and demonized, they're trying to get the public to do it. Okay? And the ones that don't do hydroxychloroquine are going to do the vaccines. So no matter which way you go, when you're not doing J juice, you're going to end up inducing antibodies. But she made a very valid point, or the post made a very valid point, that 5G on people who are doing hydroxychloroquine is going to do even more numerous damage to their insides, to their immune system. Because remember, your body is electric, okay? The 5G and then any type of predominant biochemistry you have. So if you are inducing antibodies on a continuous basis, and whatever, let's say you're doing all these different remedies, and let's say you're doing saltwater flushes, you're not even doing J juice, that salt's going to energize then whatever predispositions, whatever biochemistry is the most prevalent. And if you are inducing antibodies and you're taking hydroxychloroquine like it's candy, or you're taking other types of antibody inducing type protocols, guess what the 5G is going to do? It's going to accelerate the antibodies to keep developing, to keep accumulating and agglutinating, and then one day you die from a heart attack. One day you have a brain aneurysm, one day you have complications from COVID, you go to the hospital, they can't give you any hydroxychloroquine because you're not a candidate for it, so they do ventilators on you. Okay, you're obviously not a candidate for the vaccine because it's too late, you're in the hospital. So that was very profound, seeing that connection between the 5G, the hydroxychloroquine, and of course you're not doing J juice, you're going to be doing everything else but heal your body because of your belief systems, your lifestyle, listening to the doctors out there. And now, yeah, and I want to give doctors the benefit of the doubt, but I'm telling you, when doctors, all they know is about inducing antibodies, anesthetizing your body, making you feel comfortable, making you feel like, you need to be immunized in some way, shape, or form, that is the death culture. Okay? That is the death culture. So, sorry, I had to see something. So, anyways, I needed to talk about this because that connection between 5G and hydroxychloroquine, and then when the vaccines get rolled out, and on top of flu season, and bodies that are already been ravaged by the first wave of the COVID, and the social distancing, and the stress of the social distancing, finances, not getting your unemployment, your job is like cutting down hours, people are being laid off. I'm telling you, the elite, whoever it is, yes, that are basically trying to, dilute the population, they are making everybody stressed out. And when you're stressed out, guess what? Your immune system becomes more compromised. Okay? So that's why it's so important to do the Jilly Juice. So no matter what, if you're going to try to survive this first, second, third wave, these purges, the Hunger Games, we're in the freaking Hunger Games right now, you guys. This is the Hunger Games. You've got to do the J juice and get the salt, which is the white salt. It's a conductor, the water. Don't worry about distilled water or bottled water, just the water, tap water. And the cabbage and kale, it doesn't have to be organic. Ferment it into a jar, and then, once it's been fermented, it's not that difficult, then you drink it. And then what's going on is you're going to have to feel pain, you're going to have to feel the healing, and then the 5G is going to accelerate the evolution process too. Because remember, your body is electric. So any kind of Wi-Fi, any kind of electricity in the environment is going to energize whatever is in the environment, in its immediate environment, whatever the state it is in at that moment in time. So if you are dealing with cancer, disease, and chronic illness, and you're not doing J juice, and you're around 5G, guess what? You're going to see an acceleration of your cancer, disease, and chronic illness. So yes, the conspiracy community is correct. The anti-5Gers, I understand where they're coming from. I didn't want you guys to focus on that so much while you're on the J juice, because it's going to be irrelevant. You're on the J juice. You're going to overcome. And of course, now we figured out the 5G is going to accelerate your evolution, not your destruction. So you don't have to worry about 5G when you're on the J juice. But those that are not doing J juice, they're not bringing in they're not bringing in the actual J juice, not just salt. Because if you energize your body with salt and you're not backing it with the right constituents, and you are inducing antibodies because you have issues, it's not going to work just having salt in your body. You have to do the J juice, okay? So that's the thing, is the electricity, the Wi-Fi, all of the energy out there is going to accelerate a very healing body, or it's going to accelerate a body that's degrading. Because remember, you only have two absolutes, life and death. You're either abiding by the laws of life, or you're violating the laws of life. Those are the only two things. Okay? That's the only two options you have. And so now you're seeing an acceleration of the euthanasia, the death culture, of the medical holistic industry. Now you're seeing that even the holistic people are propping up big pharma. They are now really just touting the hydroxychloroquine like it was just like it's candy, like it's the next best thing. And that's what's really crazy. And I'm like, I just can't even help but laugh at myself, as well as everybody else out there, as you can see. The irony is that, as soon as Trump or anyone else is marketing hydroxychloroquine as a secret government, conspiracy, everyone that's a conspiracy theorist in the organic, homeopathic, allopathic, anti-government come out and freaking promote hydroxychloroquine as if it was like some big secret. No, it's not. You guys, you have to realize there's so many marketing gimmicks out there, and when you know your audience, when you know your customer base, you figure out how to speak their language. I mean, how do you figure out? I know how to speak all your language, but I'm promoting something that's life-giving, not antibiotic. I'm promoting a probiotic, but I know how to speak your language. I know how to speak to the conspiracy world. I know how to speak to the Christians and the Catholics and the whatever, the atheists, because I know all of you want to live, but somehow you guys are getting lost in all of your distractions of politics and religion and science and propaganda, that you're losing focus on what exactly you're trying to promote. You're trying to promote life, but yet you're promoting antibiotics. And so that's the irony I'm seeing. So when you're promoting hydroxychloroquine and bodies that don't want to do J juice, then you're basically like promoting state-sanctioned euthanasia. And that's a whole other, ball of wax I don't really feel like getting into at this point. And I learned about Kevorkian back when I was in like high school, or transition from high school to adulthood. And I'm telling you, Kevorkian, he was Dr. Death. So when you're promoting hydroxychloroquine over J juice, and you know about J juice, and you're like, oh yeah, my kid and my grandma don't want to do J juice because of the taste, and you don't want to help them with the taste by adding maybe some maple syrup or fruit syrup, you're just like, yeah, I'll just give them black seed, and yeah, I'll just give them, hydroxy or something else. Great, you're just now accelerating the death of your kid as well as your grandma. You are taking part in a state-sanctioned euthanasia that's going on a mass scale. So whatever, but you got to call a spade a spade. We got to stop soft pedaling what actually is going on. Antibiotics are not healing. Antibiotics is basically antibiotic is anti-life. Okay? When you're selling assumptions in compulsory education in college, oh yeah, if you induce antigen, you create antibodies, it does all this healing stuff and whatever, right? When you actually look at the science, ask any scientist what the actual scientific mechanism of what an antibody does to a cell. But they're going to say, oh, but it's a toxin. The antibodies wrap themselves around a toxin. Well, what's a toxin? Oh, it's something that's poisonous to the body. Well, what exactly is poisonous to the body? What's out there? Oh, yeah, mercury and this and that. But isn't mercury and isn't, fluoride, isn't that in like pink salt? Isn't that like in the earth, in the soils, and some of your produce? And they're like, oh yeah, well, it's just and they'll keep trying to rationalize why you want to keep inducing antibodies, because of all the toxins and the poisons and the microbes that are so dangerous, and that's how they get over on you guys, because they know how to sell fear and sell poisons. They don't tell you how to balance your body and your biochemistry, no, because that would mean that they wouldn't have you as a customer. So so anyways, so state-sanctioned euthanasia is basically selling antibiotics. Now you can slow down the euthanasia process, okay? And that's where they do some of these chemotherapies and cannabis for those that, want to go and stop the evolution in their body. But then, right now we're seeing them promoting hydroxychloroquine. Let's lower the prescription drug prices so everyone has access to all these prescription drugs, and so they can poison themselves to death while they're rolling out more viruses, more vaccines. You know, oh Jesus Christ, this is, and yeah, it's just never ending. And so you just got to know what's going on. What you do about it is your own business. I don't care what you do about it, but I just got to give you guys a heads up what's going on. You have the choices. You have a pro-life protocol like JJ. You got to face your demons. You got to figure out, what healing and pain is and all that. Or you want to go down the road of hydroxychloroquine and you want to go follow Trump and follow whoever and get all your vaccines without doing JJ's, and you want to take all your drugs. Well, you're seeing an uptick in the viruses mutating. You're seeing an uptick in the 5G. It's going to turn into 6G at some point. And if you have predispositions and you have antibodies being induced on a continuous basis, and you're now around 6G instead of 5G, you're going to see an acceleration of your degradation. But at least with the J-Juice, when you're around electricity or when you're around viruses, this will give you the opportunity to evolve and overcome the fluctuations in your environment. And if you don't want to feel pain, then you can go see your doctor and they'll give you the latest and greatest antibiotic that is state-sanctioned euthanasia. So it's your choice. But now it's interesting watching all of my holistic people go and promote Big Pharma as if whatever they've been doing the last 5 years, being anti-vax, anti-Big Pharma, what didn't even exist. It's like they forgot what they were doing the last 5 years. All of their activism against big pharma, against vaccines, against all these prescription drugs, they're all about holistic and organic, and now it's all about the hydroxychloroquine. And so you gotta laugh. All right, have a good day. Bye.